What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quarter. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. The drama around The Little Mermaid rages on as the trailer is closing in on 2 million dislikes. The mainstream media machine is pumping out nonstop hate pieces about anybody who decided that they wanted to give their criticisms to it, calling them, of course, all sorts of terrible things, because that's what happens. It's currently at 656,000 upvotes, which is very good, I will say. Very good. But it is at 1.8 million downvotes. It is close to 2 million downvotes. And now we're getting the articles like this. My Ariel is black and she's swimming in white tears. And big chunks of the movie got leaked. It's been a wild, wild day. This and more after a quick word from this video sponsor. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Kamikoto. That's right, Kamikoto makes Japanese steel kitchen knives using traditional techniques from Japan. Over 800 years of Japanese technology and expertise have gone into creating the steel that this knife has been meticulously handcrafted from, using techniques that date all the way back to the Edo period of Japan. Kamikoto only uses steel sourced from mills in Japan. Each knife comes in a beautiful, heavy-duty wood box. It makes sure that the knife is stored safely. Each knife is individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. These are knives that I personally own and use. I got a set through this promotion. Over Christmas, I used it to cut a beautiful brisket that I had made for the holidays, and cut ham and turkey and all sorts of things. Not only did it work flawlessly, but it was a talking point at the table. The knives felt like the perfect weight. They were perfectly balanced. And on top of all of this, just for you, my subscribers, you guys can get an additional $50 off any purchase you make with discount code THEQUARTERING. So click the link below and go to kamikoto.com/thequartering and use promo code THEQUARTERING to save an extra $50 today. Let's start with the leaked clips of Hailey Bailey as the Little Mermaid surfacing. A longer clip of the Hailey Bailey as Ariel singing Part of Your World has surfaced, and it gives us a better look at the character. It's from D23, or wherever they get the longer clip of her performance. Hurry and watch it online while you can, as Disney's reportedly pulling down the footage all over the internet. Well, I'm not going to play it because I don't want Disney to show up. I want the mouse showing up at my house. Quite frankly, I mean, I don't think there's any question of whether or not Hailey Bailey can sing. Seems to sing quite well. And, it doesn't give us a whole lot of more context into the film other than kind of continue on the conversation around the film. The article writes, honestly, sounds really good, and her hair does look redder in the version. Plus, you can see her hair moving in the water, which is something that people were concerned about. My concern is about what the other characters are going to look like. We aren't seeing that. How do Flounder, Scuttle, Sebastian translate into live action? Well, I think she's just going to carry a lobster around, right? Like, she's under the sea, and she's going to just have her little lobster. There's also a rumor going around that she does not go to the surface for, quote, a man, which kind of undoes Disney's animated version and the original fairy tale as well. Well, of course, she's going to go to the surface to be a boss bee. She's going to go to the surface to get a job in corporate accounts payable. She's going to go to the surface to become a musician or a singer or a corporate lawyer, because that's what Disney wants to push now. You got to have a career. You got to have a career. If you're a woman, you got to, abandon, don't have kids. That won't make you happy. Work your whole life until your ovaries are an elephant's graveyard. That'll make you happy. My Ariel is black and she's swimming in white tears. First, let me start by writing something I've probably written a dozen times on white privilege and supremacy. Whiteness is the default for social and cultural normalcy in America. This stands true despite the fact that white American culture is generally pilfered from all the non-white cultures that it surrounds. Oh, okay, sure. And then, so why do you need the Danish tale then? What does this say about black culture, so to speak? For all of American history, white people have been overwhelmingly represented in every pillar of our popular culture because white people represent 80% of the country. That's why. It's like, are you like, I mean, it's really not that difficult to understand why that is. Um, then white people talk about what many of them call forced diversity in Hollywood. I like to point out a little thing I called forced whiteness. Forced whiteness isn't as simple as changing the race of a character from the race in the source material. Forced whiteness is the systemic racial gatekeeping that has ensured white people always be placated and never want for representation. But again, I don't really understand how race swapping does your cause any good. Can somebody explain that to me? All this negative press, press, and like, what does it do? What has it done for representation? All it's done is, make everyone angry, cause everyone to be fighting. It's not inclusive. It's not diverse. It's insidious. And like the idea that like, it's so funny to me that like race swapping a character from white to black is stunning and brave. But if we had done that the other direction, people would be rioting in the streets, led by a bunch of white people, a bunch of useful idiots. They'd be burning down cities. Like, I don't really understand how anybody can look at this and not know that that's exactly what. If they took a traditionally black story and repurposed it with white people in it in modern day, they have done that in the past a long time ago, and that's not okay there. By the way, let me be very clear. That would not be okay either. Taking a traditionally black story and whitewashing it, so to speak, that's not okay. And these are the same people that complain about that, and I'm with you. But the fact that you're just like, oh, Ariel's black now. And it's so funny to me that like, it's like, if you stop and think and listen to their arguments, the idea that like, oh, it's just a fictional mermaid. Like, look at this article. Racists are worried about historical accuracy of mermaids. Gaslighting, right? Like the idea that, oh, it's just something so stupid. It's so stupid. It's not a big deal. But then they'll write the very same article like, oh, look at all the little African-American or the black girls who are crying. There's like 100 articles about that. All these young black females who are crying because she looks like them. Isn't that stunning and brave? I thought it didn't matter. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. Look, I don't think that The Little Mermaid is culturally super important here in America. Maybe in its original folklore area, Danish, yes, it may be more popular or maybe more culturally active or historically important there. But to act in one hand like, oh, it's just a fictional character, who cares? But then also spawn the same articles that talk about how important it is. You don't get to play both sides. Apparently, they can't handle Hailey Bailey singing "Part of Your World" in the new Little Mermaid trailer. And this is, again, this is why it's so important that like I try to arm people who watch my videos to be ready for this kind of gaslighting and this insanity, because it's like, no, you don't get to just call everyone racist and say I'm right. That's this generation, like the Zoomer generation. They're like, actually, that's just racist and I'm right. And then they just walk away like they did something. No, race swapping is racist. If you did it to an Asian character, if you replace an Asian character with a white person, people would flip out. If you replace an Asian character with a black person, people would flip out. If you replace a Japanese person with a Chinese person, people would flip out, right? It's only one race that it's okay, that you're a racist to point anything out about it, right? Because what? Because it's our fault. It's white people's fault for existing. That we're not allowed to say, hey, this is a historically piece, historical. This is actually like a historical piece of literature. It's not just some made up comic book, okay? And like, you're a racist if you point it out. It's the dumbest low IQ crap that like people get away with. The backlash against Hailey Bailey's Little Mermaid is as silly as it is predictable. Why not just create a new, strong, independent black female character? Why is that so hard? They've done it before. You know, they've done it before. They've done it a million times before. So why do they act like they can't do it? And like, I don't know how this movie's going to do at the box office. I'll be curious to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that this is going to do really well in the box office? I would assume probably, because most people are just consumers, right? They're just their kids want to see a movie this weekend. Little Mermaid's out, so they go and they see the Little Mermaid. That's just what happens when you're a consumer. And by the way, that's okay. Like, your kids don't have to fight that culture war. You know, if they want to enjoy a movie about a mermaid, I think that's entirely fine. But, you know, let's not pretend that you could get away with this crap with any other race. And they gaslight and say, oh, well, okay, you're writing this article about white tears, right? I thought it wasn't a big deal. I thought it wasn't about getting over. I thought it was just, she's the best character for the role. Now you're talking about swimming in white tears. Zach Lindley. It's not. It's absolutely not. There are plenty of people that see this as some sort of huge win. And by the way, 2 million dislikes generally mean that people, you know, would agree with me. This comes on the heels of the nerd meltdown over Black Elves and Hobbits, or Harfoots actually, in the new TV series Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, as well as Black Valerians in Game of Thrones. Nobody melted down over that. The show has almost a 9 rating from users. You tried to pretend like that people were mad about it, but you couldn't stick to that narrative because there was nothing proving it. You see this article, it's time we start taking a stand in pop culture. We can start by boycotting Amazon's Rings of Power, which is filled with woke feminism and leftist themes. We deserve to have culture too, and until they start respecting us as a viewer base, boycott them. I don't disagree. Oh, here they have my video here. The same guys were calling House of the Dragon woke and anti-white last month. No, I wasn't. In fact, the thumbnail you're showing is saying that House of Dragon destroys Rings of Power. I mean, it's like, you get, right, like, again, like white Black Panther. How do you think that this person about white, who's talking about swimming in white tears, would be reacting to that? Don't let them gaslight you. Enjoy life, but, you know, be aware. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it and you click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.